Hey Songwriters, this is Ari Koinuma for impactfulsongs.com, and today I wanted to share with you my thoughts on 5 huge benefits that you may be missing out if you don't know music theory and trying to write songs. Now again, I established in another video that you don't have to know music theory to write songs, and in fact can possibly write greatest song in the world without really knowing lick of theory, but knowing music theory, learning it, really give you these 5 benefits that I think are really huge and it really makes a big difference. So let me go through those reasons for you. First, music theory gives you a troubleshooting tool. So troubleshooting as in like when you're stuck, when you don't know what to do with this piece of music. So for example, you could say that I have this progression, right? And you're like, oh wow, that's a cool guitar riff, but I don't know what to do with that. What should I sing over, right? And then so I use music theory in this case and go, okay, so that's an F to A flat and then G to B flat, right? And then go, so the notes in the F are F, A, and C. So why don't we start with C and then try to hit another note from this chord. If you go something like. And then all of a sudden you come up with a melody. I mean, that's just what music theory enabled me to figure out where might be the starting point, or where might be approach, or just like a crack in the wall that you can start to sort of get into, so that you can really figure out what might be the solution to the problem, right? Okay, so number 2, the music theory gives you a language in which you can communicate to other musicians. So I'm sure all guitar players come up with this, like I come up with cool, awesome, weird chords all the time, and then you're like, well, I don't know what to call them. Like I have this progression here. Right, and then I'm like, well, I can tell you that I wrote those chords without knowing what they are. So that's a proof to you that, again, you don't need to have music theory. You don't have to think about it when you're writing songs. But now, if I'm going to tell a bass player or a fellow guitar player, oh, what is that chord? I mean, it's sort of like just sort of showing them note by note what it is. That's just really cumbersome, right? So then you go, well, this is a form of A7, has with colorful notes in it, and here's a form of C major 7 with more notes in it, and that's not the whole truth, but music theory just gave me a succinct way to communicate what I'm doing that will get the gist of what's going on, so that other musicians can go, oh, okay, so C major 7, A7, I mean, they might know what to do with that. So that is useful in terms of being able to use music theory as a common language to communicate to other musicians. Alright, benefit number 3 is music theory lets you steal from other songs. So here's one of my favorite songs from Stone Temple Pilots. The Paper Heart song, right? The cool chord is this one. This is a B over A, and you're like, wow. Now that you know that it's a B over A, or B will be here, but then the bass note is replaced with a flat 7, so that you can make that shape somewhere else, or you can even make it like entirely different place. For example, something like this. That's the same chord, it's a D over C. And so now you have that understanding of what the chord does, and you're like, okay, well, that's a really cool chord. I can use that in other song. And then how he goes from there to down to the bass note comes down and then goes down to the chorus in G, or the setup to the chorus in G. That's just an awesome move and just amazing sound. So that now that I figured out what's going on, I can look for other opportunity to use perhaps this chord again. Right. Reason number 4 would be it gives you some options. Music theory gives you options. For example, let's say you have a very simple melody that just stays on this note, and then you go, okay, well, that's D, so obviously you might want to have a start on D, right? But then, knowing music theory, you're like, okay, so there are other chords that have that note in there. G, B minor, B flat, or you could do something more advanced and go something like C9, C major 9, right? Well, that's kind of a cool chord. So you just have this one note, but then all of a sudden, by knowing music theory, it just gives you options, and then they all have different colors. But you're like, okay, well, you can just choose out of the options which fits the character of the song or how you want it to sound. But having those options is cool, so you're not always stuck just going, okay, so it's a D note, so you just go from D to G, and then that's like the most tried and true beaten path kind of move, and you can avoid that by knowing music theory. Finally, related to that is music theory will let you know when you can break rules and how you can do that. So if your song is in D, for example, that A flat is not in that key, or G flat or F sharp is not in the key, and so you can go experiment with things that are really outside of the traditional sound, and try to come up with an original spin or interesting sound to the music. And it's possible to write great impactful songs with just 1-4-5 kind of really traditional harmonies, but a lot of times impactful songs sort of go off that a little bit, sort of bend the rules, push the envelope a little bit, and then that's what sort of gets stuck in people's minds. If, for example, I think about this chord, and that's from Beatles' I Want You, right? And then I'm like, well, that's a crazy chord. How did they come up with that? And this F doesn't really belong in that E, and I don't know how he came up with that, but you know that when you come up with something like that, you're breaking the rule, because you know the why. It's that note doesn't really belong usually in the chord of E or the key of E. So I just went over quickly 5 reasons why music theory will help you become a better songwriter. And first of all, it's a great troubleshooting tool. Secondly, you can communicate using music theory. Thirdly, you can learn from other songs using music theory. Fourth, it gives you options as far as what you can do with your songs. And then finally, it can help you break rules so that you're not stuck following the rules of songwriting and concoct your own sound. And these are all really huge game changers. So I would say that if you are a songwriter and if you want to become a better songwriter, and if your music theory understanding is a little iffy, that would be a great place to start, is learn music theory, and then that will open up your songwriting to places that you didn't know you could go, as opposed to sort of locking you into a set of rules. So I hope that was helpful. I have other articles at impactfulsongs.com, so I hope you come visit me there and let me know if you have any questions or comments. Thank you.